Hello, my friends. We are back again. It is March 13th, 2018, 2:13 p.m. And I wanted to put this video out yesterday, but I wanted to stick to the current nor'easter we had. Now, what I have pulled up for you here is nullschool.net. Now, this is a global wind chart where we can look at different atmospheric winds, high level, low level, all sorts of things. This is a constant high-level shear wind that we have going on, and this has been playing a huge part in why we have been seeing nor'easter after nor'easter after nor'easter. And you can see here these winds move basically across the top of the Baja region of Mexico here, down into Texas, through the Gulf, and then they swoop up the East Coast. Now, when we get our low pressure systems, those are our moisture systems that usually come in through this filter here. You can see how we got a pressure here where the jet stream gets to wobble around this stuff, and that's what causes our little dips and our rises, and it warps it all over the place. And that's why the jet stream is constantly changing. So what I'm going to try to explain here is a bit of a hypothetical situation. One of these two is more likely to happen than the second as of now. A lot more time needs to pass to figure this out, but ladies and gentlemen, we may be dealing with not one but two more significant nor'easters, one of which may be landing on Easter Sunday, April Fool's Day. That would be a nor'easter on Easter. Now, I'm going to talk about both of these real quick. I'm going to try to keep this a short video. A lot of the information, a lot of those that follow me are beginning to understand these wind charts and why they are so important, because they direct our weather systems. A low-pressure moisture system doesn't go anywhere without atmospheric winds, such as the jet stream and such as shear winds. Same exact deal with hurricanes. When we get our hurricanes that come off of this part of Africa, they come down and then they follow this west to east, or this east to west belt, and then they go up the East Coast, they go across down into the Caribbean, into the Gulf sometimes, or they get pulled out here and they get stuck out in this area. Regardless of the situation, they are all steered and turned by upper atmospheric winds. Same exact deal with our winter storms, same exact deal with our nor'easters and any other system that we have. They are all controlled by these upper level winds. Now, with that said, there's not much of a change that's going to go on with these upper shear winds right here. So basically, when we get two systems, a winter storm plus another system that either comes out of the Gulf or forms over the Rocky Mountains like we were showing in the previous video, those systems will take different paths. Some get caught up in this upper level, some get caught down in here, but one way or another, sometimes they come down here over the Great Lakes, and then one's coming up this way. We get those two low pressures, they whip around each other, nor'easter. That's how they are formed, and we just are in the middle right now of a bombogenesis, bomb cyclone nor'easter, third nor'easter in 10 days, and we are looking at almost a certain fourth, and possibly a fifth, the fifth being on April 1st, April Fool's Day, Easter Sunday. I remember there was a very big snowstorm on Easter Sunday many years ago. I believe it was 94, 95. I could be off on that. I'll do some research. But let's get right to our favorite models here, Tropical Tidbits, and take a look at what these possibilities might be. Now, let's get to current time. Right now we are dealing with this nor'easter, with Winter Storm Skylar. Now, we did talk about this briefly earlier in the day today. I will get into more significant detail in this area, like I said in that video, but let's take a look at what our possible future has to hold for us. So, as we move forward here, this potentially could be that next one. Now, this is March 20th. Now, if this stays out and gets pushed out into the Atlantic Ocean, it will not really be a nor'easter, because those nor'easters need to come up the coast. Now, I did explain some situations that would bring this system up to the coast, so this could potentially be number 4, but if not, then number 5 is this. This is a classic nor'easter shape that they have already talked about from March 25th, and then even after that, there is another system you can see beginning here. It kind of looks like that winter storm at the top here. Now, there's a low pressure out here far to the west. Now, a lot changes between now and the 29th of March, so this is no guarantee. This is basically a hypothetical based on data charts that I'm reading. The possibilities are very much there. So we could be looking at number 4, number 5, and even a possibility of a number 6 by April 1st. Now, I'm not trying to scare people, I'm not trying to put any exaggeration videos out there, but this is certainly looking very possible, and this is all due to these atmospheric charts, the wind currents, and these moisture systems that are continuously being dumped on the west coast, and they take a northern approach over the border of Canada across the Great Lakes, which are usually our winter storms, and then at the same time we get that upflow from the Gulf that's constant. That's a lower level wind opposed to that higher level wind that I'm showing you here that goes west to east. Now this wind also is responsible for why when we get gusts coming up from the Gulf we get this wind, then we get the tornado situations here, and tornado season is looking to be a big one as well, and then our hurricane season, like I said, I believe is going to be as active, if not more active than last year, which I know is bad news. I hate bringing bad news, but reality is reality, and we need to understand that the weather on Earth is going through a phase that we have either never seen before, or there's some sort of changes going on. Something's going on, because the weather we've been getting has just been unbelievable. You could see these high pressure areas that are controlling the vortexes of these upper level winds, and this is again what causes those warps and dips and those crazy dips we had earlier in February that were bringing snow to southern states, snow in Florida, places where it hadn't snowed in 50 years, guys. So very significant weather going on, so the possibility of this happening would not surprise me in the least, and we're just going to talk about it real quick. We're going to see what the possibilities are. Again, this is the 21st, and we can see our classic nor'easter shape here. Yes, it is out into the Atlantic, but this could be number 4. So number 4 is on the 20th, which starts around right here, and we're talking 1 or 2 days or even 12 to 18 hours and change of the speed of these moving. This would be right along the coast here as a nor'easter. That is the 21st, so that could be number 4. This chart here does not allow me to go past the 22nd, but Tropical Tidbits does. So here we go again. Let me back this up. Now you saw on March 20th, which is right here, we have this system that is not only taking the shape of a nor'easter more out into the Atlantic Ocean with that 9. You always want to look for that 9 because it pulls the moisture from the Caribbean and near the Bahamas up in to fuel it. So it's kind of off chart here, but that 9 shape begins right here. So we're talking 12 hours difference over time. This thing's right on the coast. That would be nor'easter number 4. Now as we move into 23rd, 24th, 25th, they are calling for a definite nor'easter at this point, according to this chart. Again, you get that 9 shape. You get that big swoop of moisture being pulled up from the Caribbean. We get that high spin. This one's showing more of a higher spin, hitting more of the northern areas of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, so on and so forth. But again, minute changes over time could put this thing anywhere else it wants to be. So it seems to me like, at least in my opinion, there's some sort of pattern going on. We are getting an average of 1 nor'easter per 5 days. We've had 3 in 10 days now, so to think that the possibility of another 2 or even 3 is a very, very likely situation, especially as we're moving into those months of spring where it's still cold temperatures. The next day it's warm for 2 days, and then 2 days later it's cold again. That's what's significant about these, is that they're incorporated with winter storms. So I want you to try to follow along with me here, and we're going to try to figure this out together. Now, again, here's what we're dealing with now. Classic nor'easter shape. You got the 9 going down, the moisture being pulled up, wrapped in a counterclockwise motion as it meets with a winter storm, snow, and then rain. Nor'easters do not need a snow system to be called nor'easters. We get nor'easters at any time of the year. If it's warmer, it's all rain. We could have a low rain system that comes down, and then that other low comes up this way. Nor'easter, all rain and wind. So, with that said, let's check this out. This is what we're dealing with now. We're going to move forward in time again. This could be number 4 right here on March 20th. If this thing takes a earlier route than what's showing here, which is very possible because it says 7 days out, 1 day of changes could put that shape of a 9 that we always talk about. You want to look for that right there. 1 or 2 days difference could bring this thing right on the coast. That would be nor'easter number 4 by March 21st. So that would be 4 in about a 3-week span. And then number 5 is the one that's very intriguing to me because it does say March 25th, but again, this could change. This could be earlier, it could be a little later, and when you get this far out, it is a coin toss. So again, that's why I'm saying this is a hypothetical. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm putting it out there that we have the possibility for a nor'easter on Easter Sunday, which would be April Fool's Day. And you know what? It would not surprise me in the least to see that happen. So here would be number 5 if this one becomes number 4. If this does not become a nor'easter and does move out into the Atlantic, this would be number 4. And then after that, as we move into the 28th and to the 29th, you see this band right here. Now, we are far off in this area that we have a system forming down here. This could very well be that low system that at this point of the year is what's going to come through the Gulf, become a low system, come out this way, and meet exactly with this winter mix here that we're seeing. March 29th, expecting snow all over North New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, freezing rain in the Great Lakes areas, including Michigan, with a strip of rain going through the middle of the country. Now, that low could come from many different areas. Again, I pointed this low out. If this low shifts into the middle of the country between now and the 29th, and this storm stays the same, that could be the low that rides up the coast, or it could be this low if it follows the wind patterns. It could come up through the Gulf and then come out this way. We also have a low system near Mexico that is riding that same exact pattern. So all the pieces are in place for this to be a very high possibility. Now, that's what's very weird to me. I was looking at this chart earlier this morning. I'm like, wait a minute. This is not happening, is it? And I'm trying to figure this out, and it's just these classic shapes we've been getting, these 9 shapes. I always call them 9s because they look like 9s. Call them whatever you want to call them. They are the nor'easter shape, and we just happen to be having nor'easter after nor'easter mixed with winter storms. So you can clearly see here this would be a winter storm with another system forming in the west here by the 26th. Then as we move into the 27th, we have a winter storm moving across the Great Lakes into the northeast, and then we have a chance for... Let's move this a little forward here. Here are our possible low systems that may ride up the coast and turn this into a nor'easter. March 29th, that would be the same exact time that we are about to push into April 1st. Again, Easter is on April Fool's Day this year, Sunday, April 1st. So look at this, low pressure, low pressure, low pressure. All the signs are there. Now let's take a look at a far back more of an up in the air look, if you want to call it that. Just a higher altitude map we're looking at here with moisture. So here's the 12th, here's the 13th, here is nor'easter number 3 we are currently dealing with now. Let's move forward. We have March 15th and 16th. This is still the same one. We talked about this, the wind being pulled back down. More snow for Wednesday through Friday in the northeast as well. And then as we move into the 20s, check this out. This is just not stopping. Look at this. This is the stuff number 4. If it does hug the coast a little more, high pressure up here, which would push a low pressure across the Great Lakes and then meet right here again. So this is the potential for number 4. And then it takes that shape right there. Look, there's the 9 again. Now again, one day difference could put this thing right on the coast, which is why I'm saying this could be number 4 or this could be number 4. Which is what's coming right there. March 25th, also showing signs of a nor'easter. As we move forward in time even more, there we have it there. That is the top portion. This would be the top low pressure system. And then as I showed you, we had 1, 2, and 3 with another one coming from the west. So any of those low pressures that form, especially the one that's down in this area, is concerning to me because that takes a flow this way and then it wants to be pulled up by the Gulf and then brought up to the east coast. So guys, there you have it. By the end of this month, we could have not 1, not 2, but possibly 3 more nor'easter systems, 2 of which look like could become bomb cyclones based on the tightness of the spin. Now, the tighter these rings get, you can notice here, I'll back it up a little bit to what we're dealing with right now. The tighter this ring is here, that's when you usually get the bombogenesis effect. That's when the pressure drops 24 millibars in a 24-hour period. So, with that said, because we've had 3 of these in 10 days, it seems that we're on some sort of a cycle here, and that has to do with lows and highs all over the polar area of the world. And they also play a part in our jet stream, and again, that's why we get those low dips, or sometimes those shallow high rises that allows the warm air to come in. But these low dips are what have been what's been causing these systems to follow that and move up the northeast, and I don't see any changes in that happening. So guys, this is a very big possibility. Again, I don't make guarantees, I don't make predictions. I put the data out for you to look at and analyze. We will absolutely keep an eye on it and see if this is actually going to happen. But look at this. This is the GFS prediction right now. So the 21st, we have the possibility of one. That is nor'easter movement right there. And then as we move into the 25th, that is another one, clear-cut nor'easter situation going all the way up the coast with a counterclockwise spin. All these storms are counterclockwise now, and all it has to do is meet that either winter storm or another moisture system, and boom, nor'easter it is. And then again, as we move into the 27th, 28th, and 29th, which could just as easily this far out be April 1st, that is yet another one. Right there, this would be the top area, the top low pressure, and then we showed again those low pressures down here, and what my concern is the one here and the one that would be more towards the west at this time, which has been causing our recent nor'easters. It's been a low system that comes across this way. It begins to move up as another low pressure moisture system moves down. They spin around each other. They give you that 9 look shape as it pulls moisture out of the Caribbean, and there we have a nor'easter. So I wanted to bring this to your attention, guys. For those of you that follow these charts, we are not done yet with this nor'easter situation. We are going to have at least 2 more, in my opinion, one of which may fall on Easter Sunday. Maybe the night before going into Easter. It could be Easter night going into the following Monday. We're just too far out to tell, but still very important information and absolutely worth pointing out at this point in the season after having rapid fire snowstorms and rapid fire nor'easters. So anybody that wants to check out these charts, this is tropicaltidbits.com. This is ventusky.com, which is showing clear-cut nor'easter shapes for around the 20th. Let's see, the 20th. Yep, right here. So this one comes up this way, meets with a low pressure, nor'easter city. Then 21 and 22, this would be the beginning of the 5th one. So potentially the April Fool's nor'easter could be a 6th nor'easter if one of these doesn't form. So at least 4 and 5 are coming. I would prepare for that. Again, it's all temperature based, whether that will be a snow nor'easter or just a heavy rain and wind nor'easter. But in my opinion, guys, we are not done with these yet. We have more to come, at least 1. Probably 2, and it looks like 3, and one of those could be on Easter Sunday. So just a comparison of the word nor'easter and Easter got my attention very quickly, and you know what? What an April Fool's joke that would be, except it's not a joke. This is a very real possibility based on everything I'm seeing right now. So any questions you have about this, please leave below. I will talk about this daily from now until Easter, but the signs are there, guys, so do not be surprised if you start seeing in the news or other people talking about an Easter Sunday nor'easter or something very close to it. Alright, like I said, we are going to dig into areas of New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island, Boston and Maine with the significant snowfall they're currently getting. Parts of Boston, Providence, just blizzard conditions right now. There are parts of Boston you cannot see 5 inches in front of your hand, let alone 5 feet. So just hunker down, try not to travel, get through this, and then hopefully by the time the next one rolls around it'll be a little bit warmer. It could be more of a rain nor'easter, but nonetheless, guys, we have a lot more weather on the way, and it looks like it's going to continue right into the beginning of tornado season, which we've already seen the beginnings of. We've had many tornado warnings and watches down in the south states, and we are just approaching the season now, and then we have hurricane season right after that, guys. So it is going to be a busy spring and summer. I hope you all stick with me, and I hope we can all figure this out together. All right, let's get back here soon with the other video, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Happy Easter. Oh, man.